Hello, friends. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Welcome to day 2 of the return of the Holly Show. The Holly Show is what my cousin used to call it when I used to do this regularly back in 2017, 2019, somewhere in there. those 2 or 3 years. Good morning. Hello. How are you? Fixing my face here. Tell me hello in the comments if you are watching live. I would love to hear from you. Share with me where you are from. If you're watching this live, you can put a 1 in the comments or type live. If you're watching this on the replay, type 2 in the comments or type the word replay. Let me just tell you before I get started today, I'm going to be chatting with you today about the one type of self-love that no one is talking about that is definitely impacting your relationships. And this video has something to do with it, or me being here on this video. So I'm excited to share with you what that is. I have got to tell you that like this morning I took the coldest shower known to man because I do not know why. I will handle it after this video, but I have a hot water heater. It's fine. I have power. I don't know, but it was very cold. I was not getting hot water this morning, so I'm like, pardon my half dried hair. It was so cold. It's like, anyway, not like Wim Hof cold, but cold. So again, say hello if you're tuning in. Put a 1 in the comments if you're watching live, a 2 in the comments if you're watching on the replay, or just type live or replay. And let's get started in this morning's topic. I don't know that anybody's here yet. If you are, please say hello in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And away we go. So the one type of let's talk about self-love to begin with, okay? Because there is a type of self-love that nobody is talking about that's definitely impacting your relationships. And self-love is one of those things where a lot of people have made up, or society has told us that self-love is like sleeping in. Self-love is going to get a massage. Self-love is going to get your nails done. Self-love is fill in the blank. There's so many like external things that we go off and do that are supposed to be versions of self-love for us. And something that I would first invite all of you to consider is like self-love is simply a form of respecting yourself. So for example, if you are disagreeing with somebody or having an issue with somebody and you place a boundary, but then you hold that boundary, holding your boundaries is also an example of self-love. And that's not the one I'm going to talk about today. So keep going with me here. And again, say hi if you're watching live in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Say live or replay, or put a 1 if you're live, 2 if you're on the replay. So self-love, first and foremost, is one of those things that, frankly, I get so sick of hearing about. I get really sick of hearing about self-love over and over and over and over and over again. And then in terms of relationships, it ends up coming out as like, you have to love yourself before you love somebody else. And I roll my eyes at that statement, and I've made content about that. But even today is not about that, okay? But self-love, people just have this idea of what it's supposed to be about. There's some people, I'm like, where's all the people? Say good morning in the comments, please. Tell me where you're watching from. Put a 1 in the comments if you're watching live, a 2 in the comments if you're watching on the replay. It really helps this video gain traction, so I appreciate all of you who do that. So self-love, we have this idea of what it is and what it isn't. Now, in terms of how it impacts your relationship, here is a way that it was presented on a recent podcast I listened to. The podcast itself was The Chris Harder Show. I do not know the episode number, but I'll go find it and I'll link it in the comments later on today in case you want to come back and listen to it. But they were talking about self-love. A version of it that we do not discuss is being your word to yourself. Now, unlike, going and getting the massage or taking the bath or getting your nails done or all the things that society tells you is self-love, being your word to yourself is actually something that doesn't involve anyone outside of you, but it vastly impacts your relationship and the relationship that you are currently in, and not only with your significant other, but with many, many people. So let's see. So integrity, if we define integrity or being your word simply means that you say you're going to do something, you say the time frame that you're going to do something, and you actually do it within that time frame. Okay. So it has nothing to do with like how you, the type of love that you show yourself through external things. This is purely, I say I'm going to do something and I show up in that time frame that I said I'm going to do it. Now, that is called integrity. That's called being your word to yourself. So, how many times a day, if you consider how many times a day you say you're going to show up for someone else and then you do? So, you show, good morning, thanks for the hearts. We show up for work, hopefully on time, or close to it. We show up for meetings, we show up for calls, we take our kids to school, we pick our kids up from school when we say we're going to, we make appointments and we go to them, we tell someone that we'll call them back and we actually do. There are so many examples a day of where we are integrity with other people, but look at how many times in a day you may not be having integrity with yourself. How many times a day do you say, and I'm not perfect. Listen, like I'm not coming from my high horse here. I was supposed to be on this live at 8:30 this morning and I was on this live at 8:36. That's an example of not being in integrity. It just is. And I even mentioned at the beginning, like I had no hot water in my shower. I don't know what's going on. So I had to just go for it and take a freezing cold shower. And that's a reason that like I was not on at 8:30, but it doesn't matter. Like you might be late to something because you got stuck in traffic, but the traffic is not to I hate the word blame. The traffic is not responsible for that. You are. I was on this live at 8:36 instead of 8:30. That my cold shower with no hot water was not at cause for that, was not responsible for that. I am. Okay, there are things we can work around. So I am asking you, I am inviting you to get into the nitty gritty of like where you are not showing up and being your word and where you blame other things, other people, other circumstances for you not being your word. Because at the end of the day, your integrity, you being your word to yourself, making a promise to yourself and keeping those promises in the window of time that you said you're going to, that is you showing up for you. That is a version of self-love. So you can say this anything from like the time of day that you pray or that you meditate or that you go and you move your body or you're going to you're going to eat lunch at this place and not this place because it nutritionally serves you better. Whatever these promises are that you make to yourself, you must get in the habit. If you intend to have a healthy relationship, you must get in the habit of keeping those, because here is how it affects your relationship, or could. And this is a very slippery slope. Okay. What inevitably can happen in time is if you are not your word to yourself and you do not feel like you are being taken care of, ultimately, you not feeling like you're being taken care of is likely because you are breaking your word to yourself. I'm going to say that again. You feeling like you are not being taken care of in a relationship, it oftentimes in a healthy situation comes down to you have not shown up to take care of yourself. You are out of integrity with yourself. You have been breaking promises to yourself. And that is the ultimate form of self-love. So when you break your word to yourself and you are out of integrity with yourself and that version of self-love is not there, of course, you're going to seek outside sources to make that happen for you. That may look like you leaning on your partner more. That may look like you seeming, not only having needs, but becoming needy and expecting more, demanding more, reacting instead of responding, because there is something that your baseline, your equilibrium is off because you have not been your word to yourself. So if you notice in your relationship that you are leaning a little more into your partner than you want to be, or than they want you to be, or leaning a little more into them than you two have previously, when your things are good and healthy and in harmony with one another, just be curious with yourself of, am I keeping all my promises to myself? Am I, waking up when I say I want to wake up, doing the things that I want to do for myself? Because showing up for yourself in the time frame that you say you're going to is a form of self-love. It is integrity. It is the one that people are not discussing impacts your relationship. And it absolutely does. And it goes for vice versa as well. If you have a significant other who is leaning on you more so, and you might be very easily noticing, thank you for the likes, you may easily notice that they are neglecting themselves in some way, and not neglecting in like the societal sense of like letting themselves go. We're not talking about that. Just something neglectful, like I don't know, like they're not showing up in the way that they used to, right? Like they're waking up late, or they don't follow through on a promise, or they're a little more forgetful, or sometimes it just comes down to we need to pause and take an assessment of, hey, Jackie, hey, Tina, my Aunt Anna's here, Tim was here a bit ago. Hi, everyone. It just gets to the point where like we've got to check in with ourselves, because that is something that we are responsible for and can be responsible for, is how well we show up for ourselves and follow through for ourselves. So that's my topic for today. If you hi, thank you for the heart. So if you have any follow-up questions or thoughts on this, I would love to hear it. Again, be your word with yourself. Have integrity with yourself. Practice it. Be compassionate when you're not. Like I said, this is not coming, hey, Melanie, I'm so happy to see you. Hi, honey, how are you? Oh man, so good to see you. Thank you. I'm glad this supports. Thanks for the comments, everybody. As soon as like the first 10 minutes, there was like nobody here. I'm like, where is everyone? So I appreciate the comments and the likes and the hearts. So yeah, what I was saying is like my message this morning is not coming from a place of like, I'm perfect and I always get my stuff done. No. I was supposed, like I said, I was supposed to start at 8:30. I started at 8:36, and I can blame that I had no hot water, and I still don't know why. But the hot water is not responsible for my lateness. Okay. But that's an example of like showing up. Okay. Oh man, word has been on my mind, says Tina. Yeah, definitely go back and watch from the beginning, because I was chatting about integrity being something that we do not consider as a form of self-love. And it is. And again, this was inspired by a podcast episode I listened to, so I'll go find it and I'll link it in the comments below. But yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. And I'll be back tomorrow. Again, the Holly Show. So shout out to my cousin Jody, because Jody actually named it the Holly Show years ago. Like I didn't even call it then, but she told me, she's like, I always like watching the Holly Show in the morning, which is really fun. My cousin's the one that made that up. But anyway, so the Holly Show, I'm committed to being on at 8:30. Yeah, right. So I'm committed to the Holly Show being at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday. Yesterday was 8:50. Today was 8:36. I'm getting closer. I'm getting in this habit. So it's been like, I don't even know. I'm getting in the habit of it. It's like, okay, all right, get up. Got to do your thing. Anyway, so there's that. I will have also an upcoming 3-day mini workshop on the 3 primary things that impact our communication. And it's super, super good. It's super good. So if you are interested in that workshop, it's just like an hour a day for 3 days, maybe even less than that, like 45 minutes a day for 3 days. If you're interested in that, type bootcamp in the comments, and I'll make sure as soon as the sign up page is ready for that, I'll link you back to that, because I'm so excited. I love teaching communication. I love it because nobody learns communication. Like, who do we learn communication from in our relationships? Nobody like sits us down. We learn it namely through witnessing, right? And that's not always the best way to learn something, for sure. But if you're interested in being a part of that, right now I'm looking at having that the first Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of June. So lots of time to get signed up. But again, type bootcamp in the comments if you are interested in possibly joining for the 3-day communication class, 3-day communication bootcamp that I'm going to be hosting. And that's all I have for today. Hi, Donna. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, if you watch live, thank you for putting a 1 in the comments or typing live. If you watched on the replay, thanks for putting a 2 in the comments or typing replay. And I'll be back tomorrow. If there's anything in particular you'd ever like for me to discuss, You can always comment it below, or you can send me a DM instead if you want to keep it more private. I'm happy about that too. Okay. So have a great Tuesday, everybody. And I love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow.